everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Meg, and if you're new here, welcome. Today I am giving this dresser a makeover. It turned out absolutely beautiful and I cannot wait to show you. Here is a closer look at this piece. It is solid wood, beautiful legs, beautiful style, structure, and there's not really much going on with it that needs to be fixed. It just needs a new look. So first of all, I took off the hardware, which is what I always do with every single piece. And I took those off, not wanting to keep them for the final look. I kept them aside just in case I need them for another piece. Now, once I took the screws off, I had to use my putty knife just to pry off the handles because they had two little screws on either side, top and bottom. And they're a little difficult to take off. So they came off like this, and I put those aside. I noticed that there were two little holes from the nails, and I knew I had to fill those in later on. I also took off the handles on the two drawers on the bottom. And I put those aside as well. These ones on the drawers didn't have the little nails as the cupboards did. I thought I wanted the drawers to have solid wood, but I realized I didn't like the tone of the wood underneath. I preferred the top tone actually. So I stopped the sanding right away and covered the drawers up with painter's plastic tape, just going around the edges because there was a lip on the top inside three drawers that were in the cupboards, and I'm going to paint them. So once I had scuff sanded this entire piece and cleaned it, which I had forgotten to record, but you know from all my other videos that I always do the prep work first. So I started to use gray primer because I'm using gray paint. I thought I would use gray primer. This is Bin 123 Zinsser, and I prefer the Kills Restoration Primer, and I'm going to end up having to tint that one as well in gray. But because I had leftover Bin 123 gray primer, I thought that I would use it up. I did about 2 coats of the gray primer, sanding in between coats with 220 grit sanding paper. So I decided to paint the inside of the drawers or the cupboards as well, and all of the inside trim too. As you notice here, I did not fill in those little holes. And to be honest, I actually forgot until the very end, and you'll see me filling them in and then retouching up the paint. Sometimes that happens. So once the primer was dried and set and I had sanded in between coats, I then started to spray the paint, which is Pebble Beach by Country Chic Paint, and it is a medium gray. It's almost similar to the gray primer, so it's hard to tell that I'm painting, but I am spraying the paint, and I did 2 coats of this paint. I had run out of the 220 grit sanding paper, so I used 600 just to go over the paint, and I ended up using that in between the top coat as well. I usually use 1000 grit sanding block, but I didn't have that either. On the drawers in the inside of the cupboard and the 2 bottom drawers, I decided that I wanted a design. I knew I wanted a design anyway, but I wasn't sure which ones. I finally decided what would go really nice together. So I brushed clear coat onto the drawers, and then I started with the tissue paper. I placed this tissue paper, which is called Vinatge Wallpaper, and I'll put it in my description with the link. And then I went over it with the sanding block just on the edges to take away any excess paper. And this way it comes off really easily, as you can see there. So I just took a sanding block because that one was really worn, and I just wrapped a sanding disc around it. I think this one was 320 sanding disc grit. Once that was done, I brushed on the Country Chic Paint Clear Coat on the top. I find that this is the most durable top coat to use for the tissue paper. It creates the tissue paper to become really hard and durable, and I find it's very difficult to either get off or ruin if you're using the drawers a lot. So it's my best choice to go for. While the tissue paper was drying on the other drawers, I used this transfer called Geo Diamonds and just cut with my knife where I was going to place it. And this is going on the top drawer on the outside and a drawer in the inside of the cupboards. It's such a pretty design, and I thought that this piece was a little bit of a mix of modern and vintage as well, which I really liked and loved the idea of it, and it did turn out really pretty, as you will soon see. When you place the transfer on, you're going to take off the backing, and then you're going to place it onto your surface and use the tool it came with to rub the transfer onto the surface like this, and peel back the plastic as you are rubbing. If the transfer comes up with the plastic, just keep rubbing it and then it will eventually lay it down. My recommendation for transfers is always wait at least a day or two for your paint to dry and cure and settle before you put transfers on. Once all that was done, I sanded one more time with the 600 grit sanding paper, and then I started to spray my top coat. This is the clear coat that I used for the tissue paper, and I did 3 coats of this, sanding in between each coat very, very lightly. It was time to put the hardware on, and I used these modern bar style handle that I had in my hardware drawer, and they were perfect and the perfect size. I also placed these little white handles on the doors, and as you can see here, I'm doing last minute touch-ups, and the holes on the doors were really bothering me, so I filled those in because, like I had said before, I did forget. I just used a tiny little bit of wood filler and then wiped any excess wood filler off, and I did that for both doors. I then touched up each one with some paint. When I looked inside, I saw that I needed to do just a little bit of touch-ups because I didn't like how some of the wood was showing, and I wanted a really nice, clean, straight line with the paint. So I placed some tape on the bottom there and just painted along the edges. I really don't like it when I can see some wood showing or just something that doesn't look like a clean, sort of crisp line of paint. And so I always make sure that at the end that I go over and touch up. And I used a little tiny brush and just the paint on the lid. Let's take a look at what this piece looked like before. 3 drawers inside, all solid wood. A beautiful piece, well made. Love the legs. It just needed a makeover, which is exactly what you saw me do. And this is what it looks like now. I love this dresser. It is so beautiful. I just love it. It's probably one of my favorites. I love the tissue paper and the geodiamond design transfer that matched so well together. I hope that you love this too. Thank you so much for watching. This piece actually sold right away. I had it posted for one day and somebody had already requested to buy it, and they will be picking it up very soon to go to its new home. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, like and comment, and let me know what you think of this piece in the comments. I would love your support as well for Buy Me a Coffee and my Amazon wish list, which is in my description. All links for all products are in my description as well. Take care.